Have you ever had that feeling your paycheck lands, and for about a minute you're happy? Then the credit card bill comes, and somehow you feel like you have nothing again. You've done the math. If you quit today, how long could your savings last? 3 months? 6? After you run that number, the stone in your chest gets heavier, not lighter. And the people around you who earn less than you, somehow they seem more relaxed than you do. Here's the strange part. The more you earn, the more that feeling of I'm broke seems to grow right alongside it. Today I want to tell you about one person. This person went on to become one of the most famous investors in America. Talks business on TV, worth billions. But he says the best investment he ever made in his life wasn't some acquisition, wasn't some stock pick. It was that for years after he became wealthy, he kept living like a broke college student. And here's where it gets stranger. He wasn't doing this because he didn't have money. By the time he sold his first company, he'd already pocketed enough to set up most people for life. But for years after that, he was still sleeping on a couch, still splitting an apartment with a pile of roommates, still going grocery shopping at midnight for the discount bin. Who is this person, and why did he live this way? Stick with me. In his 20s, he bounced from job to job, like a lot of people do. Some of those jobs he wasn't even proud enough to put on his resume. But looking back, he says every single one of those jobs was him getting paid to learn. He came from an ordinary family. His father worked in auto upholstery. No money, no connections. At 27, he nearly ran his first company into the ground. That near collapse taught him something he never forgot. Money can come fast, and it can disappear just as fast. Later, he and a partner built a company, right, as the internet was taking off. In the late 90s, they sold it to a major company for billions. Overnight, he went from an ordinary founder to someone worth billions of dollars. If that were you, what would you do with that money? Most people's first instinct, bigger house, nicer car, hire people to handle your life. He didn't. What he did next was strip his living costs down to almost nothing, still splitting a 3-bedroom apartment with 4 other people, no room of his own, slept on the couch or the floor, drove a $200 used car. One of them had a hole in the floorboard that let rainwater in. To save money, he shopped at midnight for groceries about to expire. This sounds like a story about someone who hadn't made it yet. But this was his life after he was already worth a fortune. He later wrote repeatedly on his own blog, telling young people, keeping your living costs as low as possible while you're young is the single best investment you can make. Why would he say that? That's what today is really about. Most of us carry around a default formula in our heads. Earn more equals feel. Safer equals worry less. This person's life directly contradicts that formula. He put it bluntly, what actually determines how secure you feel isn't how much you earn. It's how low your living costs are. That sounds like standard save money advice, but the logic underneath it is something different entirely. Think about it. If your monthly fixed costs are high mortgage, car payment, subscriptions, all the things that maintain your lifestyle, then every dollar you earn is already spoken for the moment it arrives. Your paycheck starts leaking from the very first line. In that situation, no matter how much you make, you're always just barely enough. And that just barely enough feeling keeps triggering the part of your brain that feels scarcity, because there's never a leftover portion of your money. There's only the already allocated portion. But if your living costs stay low, a big chunk of what you earn becomes what I'd call free money. Money that doesn't belong to any bill. It belongs to you, to your choices. That chunk of free money is what determines whether you feel relaxed or tight inside, not the total number in your bank account. This is why so many high earners still feel poor. The more they make, the more they spend, and that chunk of free money never actually grows. Income and spending chase each other like two lines that never converge, and that just barely enough feeling never goes away. The person in our story, after he was already wealthy, deliberately kept his living costs low. What he was actually doing was forcing that free money portion to grow as large as possible. That's what he meant by the best investment. What that investment buys isn't stocks, isn't real estate. It buys choice itself. Now, 3 things you can actually do. First one, right now, 15 seconds, looking at your screen, open your banking app or budgeting app. Find last month's total spending. Don't break it down, just look at the total number. Then ask yourself one question. How much of this number is stuff you genuinely need, and how much is stuff you're spending to maintain a certain image? You don't have to change anything right now. Just look at it. Put a question mark next to that number in your head. What you just did in those 15 seconds is called seeing. Most people have zero idea what their actual living costs are. You just feel like there's never enough, but you couldn't tell anyone exactly why. If you can't see it, you can't fix it. Second one, set a spending ceiling. Pick the expense category that's grown the fastest for you over the past year. Could be rent, could be a subscription, could be something everyone has now. Set a hard ceiling on that one category. Write it down somewhere you'll see every day. This isn't about living a deprived life. It's about stopping your living costs from automatically climbing every time your income does. When your income goes up, your living costs tend to creep up right along with it, and you don't notice it happening because every upgrade feels completely reasonable in the moment. But look back 10 years later, and you'll find your income tripled while that just barely enough feeling never changed at all. Setting a ceiling is how you hit pause on that automatic climb. Third one, this is the most counterintuitive. Take the money you save and remove it from your budget entirely. Most people's idea of saving, the money you save goes into an account, and you keep it there for whenever you need it. The problem is, whenever you need it keeps happening. As long as that money is sitting in an account you can see and access, some reasonable need will eventually eat it. The person in our story, the money he saved by keeping his costs low, didn't sit in a bank for later. He turned it directly into capital for his next venture. Something completely separated from his everyday life. You don't have to start a company, but you can do something similar. On the day your paycheck lands, immediately transfer whatever you can save into an account you basically never look at. The moment that the money moves, psychologically, it stops being money I can spend this month. It becomes future choice. What makes this move powerful isn't that it teaches you how to spend less. It's that it stops a dollar from ever having the chance to become a new necessity. That feeling we started with, earning more, but somehow feeling poorer, is not because you are bad with money. It's because your living costs have been quietly chasing your income the whole time without you noticing. What that billionaire ultimately figured out is actually pretty simple. The thing most worth protecting once you have money isn't the number you've earned, it's the speed at which you spend it. These 3 things, starting with seeing, then setting a ceiling, then turning what you save into capital that's cut off from your daily life, they only deal with the tip of the iceberg. Below that, there's a whole layer about what money and security actually have to do with each other. Why some people with very little in their account feel completely calm, while others with plenty still feel anxious. I'll unpack that for you over time. By the way, I covered something connected to this before. Why the busier you get and the more you earn, the less secure you can feel. It's right there on your screen. Worth watching together with this one.